everyone. Welcome to Comics with Bueller. As always, I am Bueller. Today is another creator interview, and today we have none other than Tom Snagoski. Did I get that right?
That's right.
Hey, first shot, I must have been practicing before you got here, man. So, you know what? How you doing today? Everything going good?
Good? Yeah, everything's going great. Wrapped up.
Nice.
Turned a book in today, so I'm all set.
Is that the book we're talking about right now?
No, actually, it's another one.
Okay, we'll get to that one.
This is actually a novel. This is actually a novella that I turned in. So yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about what brings us here today. Of course, we do this for Dynamite. The HERCULOIDS, which comes out in February, looks like the middle of the month, but that date sometimes changes.
Yep.
I will be totally honest with you. I know the HERCULOIDS. I know the name, but I don't know anything about them at all. I don't think I've seen any of the cartoons, and it's one of the cartoons I've missed. I'm not gonna just sit here and lie to you and tell you I've seen it when I don't.
Yeah.
Tom, do me a favor, fill me in on what the HERCULOIDS is.
All right. Well, first of all, one of the main attractions to these characters that started in 1967. I can actually remember sitting in front of the TV set. That's
okay.
I'm giving my age. I'm showing my age here. But
that was black and white, correct?
No, it's color.
Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay.
The main thing about these, and I didn't know this in '67, but the HERCULOIDS, as well as Space Ghost and Birdman and Galaxy Trio and Thundar the Barbarian, were all designed by a guy named Alex Toth.
Okay.
Who was this he worked in comics too.
Sure.
Actually, like super respected. Mention Alex Toth to any artist, and they kind of get like, Alex Toth. But he designed all these shows. So the HERCULOIDS is a show about this strange family that lives on this planet called Amzot, and it seems to always be being invaded by robot men and giant spiders and whatever. And the HERCULOIDS have to fight these guys off and send them on their way. Yeah. That's pretty much the plot of all the episodes of the cartoon. Now, the family consists of 3 humans: Xandar, Tara, his wife, and Dorno, a little boy.
Okay.
Now, the rest of the family are these monsters, but I think they're way smarter than monsters. They look monstrous. There's Egu, which is this giant rock ape, who's my personal favorite. Tundro, who's kind of like a triceratops, multi-limbed triceratops. He has I think he has 10 legs. But he has a horn that he shoots these explosive pellets out of. So there must be something biological in his system that he shoots out.
Sure.
There's Zoc, which is like this dragon that shoots laser beams out of his eyes and the tip of its tail. He can fly. And then there's Gloop and Gleep, which are these kind of like shape-shifting yellow little blobby characters that kind of like none of them speak like English or anything. They all speak their own monstrous language, but the humanoids all seem to understand them. So
yeah.
And they have this weird family called the HERCULOIDS, and they defend the planet, the planet Amzot.
So what you're telling me is that you're going to have a lot of fun writing this book.
Oh, I can't tell you what I'm telling you. When I heard that Nick over at Dynamite was getting the Warner Brothers was tapping into the Hanna-Barbera Warner Brothers characters, I sent him a special email and just said, if you don't give me the HERCULOIDS when you get them, I will be so bullshit at you that you can't even imagine. And when he got it, I got the email that said they're yours if you want them. So my threats worked.
So that was actually going to be another one of my questions, of how this came to be. So it just seems like you just heard the word that they got a hold of it.
Well, it was almost as if I kind of got a sense that they were heading there, because I heard that they got Space Ghost. So it was only a matter of time before the HERCULOIDS fell into that category. So I was right there. That email was right there to him. Give us some suffer. But yeah, I've loved these characters since even when I first started in comics. I was always asking, who owned the license? Who owns a license to the Herculoids? I would love to write the Herculoids.
So what do you think about Dynamite kind of jumping on this Hanna-Barbera license and stuff and bringing all these, if you want to use the word quirky, you can, but they're definitely different types of superheroes and families, as you mentioned, and stuff.
Well, what's interesting about it is the fact that they're doing such a great job with it.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, a lot of these cartoons and a lot of these animated shows were wonderful for the time, but they were a little repetitious. Like if you watch the Herculoids, it's literally the same story over and over and over again. So, different monsters, different, like that was what was cool when you were a kid. You're like, oh, a robot guy. Oh, geez, look at this. That's a spider. So seeing like what David Pepose is doing with Space Ghost is like just like this breath of fresh air. It's like, wow, this is really, really neat. He's like taking it to the next level. And that's kind of like what I wanted to do with the Herculoids, was take it to that next level.
It seems like all these titles that we're seeing, including yours, everyone who's on board is a fan ahead of time. David was a fan ahead of time. You're a fan of the Herculoids ahead of time. And you guys are reaching out to do these books, and it's translating into some really good books.
Yeah, we're bringing. I think what it is you bring that level of excitement in the characters to the work. I mean, you're actually excited to sit down to write. It's going to sound stupid, but it doesn't feel like a job when you're writing these characters that you've wanted to write for 30 years. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, what can I do with them now? So it's really exciting.
Well, let me ask you a question about the family themselves, okay? Because you mentioned earlier that they're always getting attacked all the time. That's kind of thing. Has it ever crossed your mind that maybe the family is the problem? not the other way around.
No, they're not. They're not the problem. It's that, and this is actually a major plot thrust for my first year. Is what's so important about this planet? Why does everybody want it? What is it about this planet that everybody is kind of drawn to? And that's like the first two issues kind of address that a little bit, and then we go from there. It's not the family; they're perfectly fine.
I don't know, man. There's like a hidden agenda behind the scenes. That'll come out issue 7 down the road or something like that. The behind the scenes telling of the Herculoids. Maybe a spin-off or something like that, what you didn't know. But you had mentioned your favorite character. Would you like to, some of these books are starting to see some spin-offs.
What I did when I got the gig to write the book, I had to kind of like plot out the first year, roughly plot out the first year. And what I did was I actually did in my plotting little solo stories with each of these characters, because we know nothing about the monsters characters, nothing at all. So it was kind of cool to kind of like think about the kind of story, like a background story, like
an origin story.
Give us something about this animalistic type creature that we never knew.
Yeah, and
that's kind of like my thing I was really excited about, as I get to do that with all of them if I want,
So we'll get to know them. We'll get to know their
stuff that nobody's done with them before. Like I know there's been other comic appearances of these characters, like DC did some stuff with them and Gold Key did some stuff with them, but no one really went beyond what the show kind of did. That kind of repetitious. Like not really giving any background or history or anything on the characters or who they really are and stuff.
Yeah. So that brings up another thing. I mean, obviously it sounds like you got the green light to do that. Were you a little worried that you wouldn't get the green light to kind of explore the backstory of these characters that have been around since the 60s?
I honestly had no idea when Joe Ryban, who's my editor, said, all right, can you give us like a brief, what are you going to do in the year? What the first 12 issues, what would it be? I really had to sit down and go, oh crap, what am I going to do? And when I was putting that stuff down, I was like, I hope they go for this, because this is what I would want to do. And as a fan, what I would want to see. So I was really happy. They were great. The licensors just basically said, yeah, this sounds really good. Tone down on the carnage was actually a quote.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a little. My violence was a little high, so we had to bring that down a little bit. But yeah, that was it. That
It
was it.
sounds like the door is pretty much wide open to kind of explore everything. Are you
Yeah.
going to bring more characters into the regular mix?
I'm gonna probably like create some new stuff, but I'm also gonna borrow from the show, like pick various alien species or bad guys, and maybe bring them into the storylines. Yeah, yeah, but new stuff too. Some new stuff too, mixed with the old.
So have you gone back and rewatched all the shows?
I've rewatched a bunch of the show. Yeah, I was doing that. I was doing that when it looked like, I was going to get the gig. I went back and watched a bunch, and it was kind of like, oh, all right. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun. That it just tapped into that nostalgia.
Very cool.
Nostalgia, yeah.
Let's take a pivot away from that current book, and let's kind of go to some of your other works real quick, because you did some Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I did. I did Angel.
You did Angel, and Angel was the one I was going to talk about. So Angel's my favorite. I was a big Angel TV fan. I just like the quirkiness of the show. I watched a little bit of the Buffy. I thought it was okay, but Angel kind of had a little bit more. I don't know. It just kind of did it for me a little bit more.
Well, Angel had that kind of noirish PI.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my shtick. That's what I was really gravitated towards that. So yeah.
But I mean, you've done a lot of books. I mean, I looked at your past. I mean, you've been writing comics for quite a long time. You have a lot of titles under your belt, and a lot of titles are, looking at your portfolio.
Yeah,
it's a lot of different characters that aren't like in the traditional the traditional superhero world.
Right.
Okay. You run the gamut of other, Dick Tracy's another one,
Yeah.
But do you find yourself kind of leaning that direction?
I lean in the direction that excites me. Okay. I lean in the direction of a character that I really, really like. Like, for example, like I'm having the greatest time in the world doing stuff within the Hellboy universe.
Yeah.
Like, I work with Mignola and Chris Golden and stuff like that. And that's been a dream come true. That's really, really fun because I love the comics. So it just makes it all the easier to kind of insert yourself into that universe. But yeah, I love that stuff. So I think that the key is me being excited about the property, like something that I've read or enjoyed or something like that. Yeah.
But what you told me if DC came knocking and said, "Hey, we want you to write Batman," you probably wouldn't turn that down.
Oh no, I love Batman. Batman's like another one of my favorite characters. So yeah. I'd probably be terrified.
Yeah.
I'd probably be like, "Oh crap, what do I do?"
Hey, here we go. Batman versus the Herculoids. The crossover.
There you go.
Before, right?
Yeah, there's something.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So let me kind of give your history a little bit. So were you a comic collector when you were young? And what
I still am.
Nice.
I still am. Yeah, I still buy way too much.
Yeah.
Read way too much.
What are you enjoying reading right now?
Oh God. I'm actually enjoying a lot of the a lot of image stuff that has been like super, super cool. Like I love Ghost Machine? The Jeff Johns little company there with Geiger and Redcoat and so that stuff's been a blast. I'm loving that stuff.
Very nice.
Still reading Batman, a lot of Batman stuff, Marvel, Moon Knight, and the Hulk, and you name it, I'm probably reading it.
Nice. Have you read any of the Ice Cream Man? That's one of my favorites.
No, I haven't read Ice Cream Man. I've seen it, and I'm like, oh, what? That's interesting. I think I missed it when it first came out, and then I've paid attention to it. But it's, I'd have to like track down the back issues or the collections or whatnot.
Well, everyone is a standalone issue, so I mean, you can just pick up any issue and just kind of.
Really?
So it's a lot of fun, and it's probably one of my favorite books out right now. If you get an issue 31. It came out probably last year. It is probably one of the best standalone comics I've read in probably a good 4 or 5 years. So.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah, except for the Herculoids, which comes out in February. That'll be one.
Exactly. That's going to just knock that right out of the way.
There you go. So back to the Herculoids. Who's your artist on this?
Craig Russo.
Okay. Have you worked with him before?
Yeah, I worked with him on Young Hellboy.
Okay.
So when I got the go ahead that I was going to write this, they were like, "Get any artist like suggestions?" And Craig was like the first person that I thought of because he's got that, I don't want to say cartoony style, but he brings a sense of how the old show looked.
Yeah.
But with his spin.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's a combination of like exciting and new and nostalgic all at the same time. It's great. It's perfect.
I think that's really important with these titles that have these cartoons, and that's where they kind of hit to kind of embrace the nostalgia a little bit. And so people were reminded of what they saw. You know, you don't have to be this all detailed type thing. It kind of the more it looks like a modern version of the actual cartoon, I think it lends more to the fan base and stuff.
Oh, definitely. What it does is it just taps into that memory.
Yeah.
And it taps into what you were absorbing when you were, 8 or 9 in front of the TV set.
Very nice. Well, Tom, we're going to wrap it up, but I'm going to give you a quick second here to do the elevator pitch for the Herculoids. Okay. So if you want to do a quick elevator pitch of the Herculoids, you are now on the clock.
All right. Herculoids, aliens attacking a planet, defended by a family of barbarians and monsters. You can't ask for anything better. This is going to blow your socks off. It's great.
That's not bad. Like I said, this comes out in February. The date right now is the 19th. That does change,
Yeah, it fluctuates.
But you can, who's ever watching, please go to your comic shop. Let them know you want it. You can add it to the FOC. You can just pick it up when it comes in. And you can also go to dynamite.com. You can order them there. There's going to be a bunch of different covers. I believe the A cover is a Matina cover.
I think it's Matina, and then there's a Mignola cover in there, and I think Craig has done some covers, and there's a list of like really great names, and Linsner, there's a Linsner cover that's beautiful. It's a great looking book.
Very nice. I think I saw there was 24 covers or versions of covers that were on the list that could grow, depending on who else wants to put them out there. But the A cover, I believe, is Matina, so you can find that. Matina is one of my favorite artists. And so having him on the A cover is kind of cool. But Tom, I want to say thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, man.
Anything else you want to let the fans know before we go?
Just buy the Herculoids. I want another year.
What's another year?
I want at least another year, but I would take another 3 years if I could get it.
Yeah, like we said earlier, year 2 is when you really learn why the Herculoids are so evil.
They're not evil.
No, I'm sorry. Anyway, thank you, Tom. Appreciate your time. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to live your best life. You know what to do. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Take care.